Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Hello, you're welcome to today's edition of Money Radio on Leadership Podcast. Money Radio is a program that brings you the business and economic sector of Nigeria and other issues of businesses surrounding the world. My name is Innocent Odo, and today we are going to look at a very important step taken by the federal government to regulate social media and other intermediary platforms as we look forward towards the 2023 election. And on Monday, the federal government issued a code of practice to online platforms through the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA. And in that that step the federal government took, it also mandated the media platforms to register with the Corporate Affairs Commission, appoint a country representative in Nigeria, and of course, be able to pay taxes to the federal government. So it was kind of a form of regulatory framework that the federal government has initiated to be able to control and make sure that these social media platforms, computer self-services systems are not used to trample on the fundamental rights of Nigerians, and of course promote what will enhance unity and solidarity in the country and stop misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech, among other harmful practices that the federal government deems unnecessary in this kind of situation. And so we are here to interrogate the feasibility of the FG's code of practice for online platforms issued on Monday. And I'm here in the studio with my regular guest, Haniel Jafar, who is an ICT expert, and I'm sure with him, we're going to do justice to this important topic. Haniel, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here again, always.
Now we're getting towards the election proper, and there's a frenzy already in town. Yeah. The political frenzy is already catching all of us. And I think would it be said that the federal government took the right step at the right time to begin to regulate how social media, that's basically social media and other interactive platforms are used in the country. How do you see this step?
Well, in its context, it's a good one, but I've taken my time to go through some of the contents, especially the what the responsibility. In fact, we will start with in the area of registering an office, putting in somebody that will be in the office that will be able to attend to issues related to Nigeria. It's only for large, based on the document. It's only for large social media platforms. Yes. So social media platforms that are just coming, really, they would not have, especially startups, they would not have that. It's not in that particular section is not for them. But there are other aspects of the misinformation and disinformation section of that document. It's a good one to be able to curtail fake news and know who did what and all that. But there are other aspects that are in the document that looks as though certain it's trampling on the fundamental human rights of Nigerians, especially in the area of privacy. Now, there is a section that says that if somebody deregistered from the online platform,
yes,
that the online platform should keep that document or keep the person's details. You get. Now, I'm leaving your platform, and I have reasons why I'm leaving your platform. So, on what ground would you have to keep my documents? You get. So that's one of it, and some other there's also another section that states that if something is trending, a popular content that is trending, a government agency or a government parastatal can actually make requests to know why is certain things trending, why are certain things trending, and who's making it to trend.
Yes.
So now putting a face to the person that is making certain things to trend. So now, while it is good, if it is trending, if a trend is, if the trend is against the government, maybe a popular trend that is against the government, that can be a tool for the government to use to keep certain persons quiet. You get, so it has, while it is generally, if well and judiciously implemented, it's a good one, but the distrust between the people and the government is a concern.
That was actually coming to that, especially at this point in time where you can see very obviously that the economy of the nation has not been very, very good, especially to the ordinary people. For the past couple of years, we have had to, contend with difficulties in, basic things that people, normally would, through minimum effort in the past, would actually be able to get. It's now a big struggle. And so when people, gathered and all this kind of thing will congeal into some kind of, let's say, anger against the current government. Is it this type of regulatory measures would they use, to start trying to suppress the will of the people, from emerging, especially when there's a political atmosphere is being charged,
Exactly.
and the people have an opportunity of expressing themselves through such measures? Would this kind of thing actually be anything to stop them from, expressing themselves, especially when they are so deeply,
For me, I would say the timing for putting up this code of practice it seems wrong, looking at the fact that we are now in the election era. Campaigns are going, so most persons will begin to make some kind of statement, and generally citizens, the easiest way for citizens to express themselves without having anybody around is via social media. You get, so and why some of their expressions would be genuine and can be direct at certain persons, especially if those persons are in power. The persons can capitalize on this code of practice to ensure that the person that is making such statement is dealt with. So it's really going to I don't know if it's going to limit the level of expression, or if the youth or generally the citizens will just say, well, I don't care whatsoever thing they want to do, let them do, or whatsoever thing they want to say, let them say. I have my platform, I'll still express myself as long as I don't disobey the law. Because in the document, most of the reference points to the platform was that anything they are doing that is against the law. And if we're to look at the context at which they are saying the law, it's largely not the law that is written, but the law that would be written, or the law that probably will be verbal or will be misinterpreted. You get, so in that context, it can be challenging. It can be challenging to look at it from that perspective.
Okay, let me take a few of the statements issued by the federal government. It says that, and I quote, he said, the result of this particular decision is as a result of consultations that were consultation was duly incorporated into the draft code of practice. The new global reality is that the activities conducted on these online platforms wield enormous influence over our society, social interaction, and economic choices. So with this alone, you can see that the social media or the online platform generally have actually provided grounds for people to express whatever social choices, economy, politics, and all that. So can we now, by what law are the law they are quoting? Would they, because this kind of thing is dicey and can be subject to misinterpretation, even by the government themselves who are trying to regulate this thing. At what point can we say that something has constituted a hate speech? Is it when you criticize policies of government, or there's a particular government agency that has done something not in line with the popular opinion, and when you criticize it, and that has become that will become a hate speech or misinformation or disinformation?
Now that's for the government to tell us. As it stands, there is no. Yes, there is just a general assumption of hate speech, but there is no document clearly that has been clearly released by the government telling us what is considered to be hate speech. Yes. So not until that is done, it is at the jurisdiction of the government now to consider to let us know what it considered to be hate speech. Until a document that clearly defines what hate speech is in the Nigerian context, until a document that clearly defines what should not be contained in a speech that would make it not to be a regular but something that falls in the category of hate speech.
Yes.
We would continue to be at the mercies of the government for them to tell us what they consider to be hate speech. The document should be there, but if the document is not there, then the government will just tell us whatever thing they feel it's hate speech is what will take as hate speech.
That is where the thing becomes even more confusing. Because if you cannot define what misinformation is, what disinformation is, or what fake news is, what lies are, or whatever.
Well, generally, misinformation and disinformation, they are now disinformation. Disinformation is when you give an information that is practically not true. Misinformation is when you give an information more of like half truth, and unknowingly, maybe you're telling somebody that they are fighting. Yes, and you say they are fighting at Area 1. Good. It's Area 1. There's Area 1 in Mpapi. There is Area 1 in town. And there are other places in Abuja that has Area 1 as a location. You get now without specifying what part of Area 1 is it. Area 1 in town. Now it is Area 1. There is like the issue that we had. There was this general news that there was an issue in Area 1 that people should ensure that they don't pass through. Now there are different aspects of it. There are different locations that are considered to be Area 1 in Abuja, yes, even in Papi and the likes. So misinformation is when you don't give accurate information as it's supposed to be. Disinformation is when you concoct an information that just does not exist. Yes, yeah. Both of them can be considered to be fake news, but now they are in levels because we need to now design, okay, what's the level of this? At what level would we consider this fake news? At what level of fake news is this and all that? We need to sit down and strategically analyze this context. There is malinformation, there is disinformation, and there is misinformation.
Okay, let us go to one of the provisions here again on that particular document released. And I quote again. It said, these conditions address issues around legal registrations of operations, taxation, and managing prohibited publication in line with the Nigerian laws. The conditions are as follows. 1, establish a legal entity, that is, register with Corporate Affairs Commission, appoint a designated country representative to interface with Nigerian authorities, abide by the regulatory demands after establishing a legal presence, comply with all applicable tax obligations on its operations under Nigerian law, provide a comprehensive compliance mechanism to avoid publication of prohibited contents and unethical behavior on their platforms, and provide information to authorities on harmful accounts, suspected botnets, troll groups, and other coordinated disinformation networks, and deleting any information that violates Nigerian law within an agreed time. End of quote. So you can see it's actually very, very comprehensive, and with so much placed on the laps of the online platforms to be able to regulate content being dished out by their own platforms. So just like you said earlier, now this is not easily visible for smaller platforms.
Yeah,
because I know that they talk about
it's for large platforms
like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram,
likes.
WhatsApp, and even TikTok.
Yeah.
So these are some of the other social media platforms that are very popular with Nigerians, and these are the areas that we go. So one will look at it and see some tinge of element of suppression on this. So we are now looking at how to unpack all this to ensure that Nigerians' freedom of expression is not suppressed by these type of measures. So why we try to find how we converge freedom of expression with unlawful content, and there's something that may actually arise out of the situation where government
Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Welcome back. We sincerely apologize for that break in transmission. Due to some technical glitches. We've been talking about the code of practice issued by the federal government on Monday on computer service platforms, which are referred to as online platforms, and how they are going to be used to ensure that Nigeria's fundamental rights are protected, and of course, within the realms of the Nigerian law. The challenge, however, before we went on that break, Aniel, the challenge, however, is that while trying to protect the fundamental rights of people, and of course, abide by the laws of the federation, there's this risk about people's right of expression might also be
Content because definitely know what contradicts the Nigerian law and what doesn't. So that document should be comprehensive enough so that there is no misinterpretation of the document.
Yes, of the document, and that's a very very instructive statement you have made there, because if we say hate speech, for instance, I have read a couple of posts on social media where the attack, is directed at people's religious practices, ethnic backgrounds, and political orientation, and all that. And some of the statements were quite really really toxic, very caustic in the way the people are making statements. So I think such things should actually be, made explicit so that you know what it means to. You don't go beyond
Your limits.
beyond the limit by attacking people because of personal, maybe their religious background, ethnic background, and all that. I think that's what the government is actually trying to protect in this sense. Maybe they have not been, they didn't express it as much as we would expect from them, but I think what they are driving at is very very noble, in the sense that it will help protect people's rights, people's interests, and don't damage them, damage characters because we want to use social.
And if it's not well implemented, it will also take away our freedom of expression and also the privacy. So it's a two it's a coin with a two sides. So we should not look at the nobility in it and not look at the damage that it's likely to cause until it is comprehensively prepared. Because for me, based on what was in the document, just responsibilities. It does not give us clear details, comprehensive details on what those responsibilities, what should be the content of those responsibilities.
Yes, we must look at the document again and see which areas that needs improvement and how we're going to make sure that we provide adequate information, detailed information on what are some of these concepts that the federal government has unleashed, to ensure that we protect the fundamental rights of not just Nigerians, but even foreigners living within the shores of Nigeria. It's on that note that we come to the end of today's Money Radio. I've been in the studio with Hania Jafaru, and we have been having a very wonderful thoughts on this very important topic. Hania, once again, it's a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for joining us. And we say, remain blessed and stay away from trouble. We'll bring you a better edition when next we come. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.